Okay, Itamexkanatoni, good morning. It is kind of getting toward the late morning, almost 10 o'clock in the AM on Friday, March 29th, 2019, in the latter part of the lunar cycle Bidakis on the Eagle Moon. And 22 years ago today, in a little non-denominational church in Greenwich Village, New York, Mahoney and I eloped, tied the knot. And even though things have been kind of rough lately, we're still in each other's lives, and I'm happy about that. And so I want to wish my Mahoney a happy anniversary. 22 years of craziness in each other's lives, and I know we'll see each other sometime today. For myself, right now, I'm on my way to Raymond, Alberta, to get a jump on my, what is actually, I guess, technically my first snake call of the year. This is a seniors lodge, senior citizens lodge that I'm going to. It's Alberta Run, and apparently they used to have an old kind of abandoned house next door to them, and recently, or in the last year, that house was leveled and a new building put in. And there might have been or not a rattlesnake, but a garter snake den in there, around the foundation of that old house. And so the snakes have moved, and they seem to have moved close to the foundation, if not within the foundation of this seniors lodge, because some of the residents are finding them in their bedrooms and that kind of thing on the lower level, and so it's freaking them out. So I'm going in there this morning. I'm going to go into the crawl space underneath the building and see if I can find any snakes, or at the very least try to figure out how garter snakes might be getting into their building. It's early yet. There shouldn't be any snakes awake, but garter snakes are pretty cold tolerant, so you never know. I brought my scope with me. I'm powering it up. It's just down here on the floorboards. I got my lunch / breakfast, just a bunch of pulled chicken and a little bit of satay peanut sauce. Still eating very healthy, for the most part. Not necessarily drinking healthy though yet. But I know April's gonna be my month, man. Anyway, gonna do a weekly update video, probably as we go along, and then maybe some later on in the day wherever I end up. I've got beaver gallery work to do later on, so we'll talk about that. Pretty quick here, we're gonna end up at Sterling Lake. I think I'm just about to Sterling Lake, and I'll probably pull off there just to take a peek, see if there's any waterfowl. I know on the blood reserve, the swans have been returning, and so that's always a sign, you know, for us, Mahoney and I, that, you know, if we're going to do our public ceremony for the beaver bundle, which we probably won't do this season, but if we were going to do it, we do it, you know, about one lunar cycle after we seen the first swans. Swans are important in Blackfoot stories. You know, they're the ones that carried Scarface Bowiczki up to the Sun's Lodge, and so there's taboos against harming or eating swans as well. But anyway, yeah, we're almost to Sterling Lake. We'll stop there really quick, see what the waterfowl situation is, and then from there I'm going to head to Raymond, into that seniors lodge, and we'll see if we can find any garter snakes in the basement. There's those swans passing overhead. I'm not sure if those are tundra swans. Here's our list of birds that are commonly seen here at Mitchelson's Marsh, which is really just this kind of wetlands area here by the viewing platform on the one side of Sterling Lake. cool to see the swans passing. I don't think there's any out here on the water right now. Didn't bring my binoculars, unfortunately, but I can see out there on the cormorant nesting island there's geese setting up, some gulls passing. Ring-billed gulls are returned. And I did hear the call of a widgeon out here somewhere, which is, they're pretty much the earliest duck, beside mallards, to start making their way back here. And Mahoney and I saw one at the pond this week, an American widgeon, so they're definitely heading up. Migration's underway. Swans haven't stopped here, but cool to see them flying past. Anyway, on to Raymond. Let's see if we can find a snake den. So I'm down in the crawl space now, actually right underneath a residence where they had a snake last week. So the garter snakes here are definitely waking up if they had a snake last week. And there's got to be a den. Maybe not right in the crawl space here, but somewhere along the edge of the building, I'm suspecting. So I'm starting here, see what I can see underneath, and then we'll go outside and look around. So no luck finding any snake dens in the crawl space. There's actually 3 crawl spaces under this building, and I checked all 3 of them. Didn't find any evidence of any snake droppings. Didn't find any bits of shed snake skin. Really nothing to indicate that there's any snakes around, but residents are seeing them, right? So the next place to look would be outside here. So I've been scoping around the outside of the building, and one of the things that I did notice is that each of these units, each of these residence units, has these air intakes or vents down below their windows. And looking into those vents, there's a little screen in there, but it's only attached on 3 sides really. The other side's not attached, and I was able to easily just push a stick through, and so no doubt a snake could get through just as easily as the stick. And I think that's very likely how the snakes are getting into the residences and ending up in people's bedrooms. That still doesn't solve the where is the snake den. For that, I did get some clues from the residents themselves. They told me back here there's a stairwell. It's a concrete stairwell, and so I come to take a look at it. I brought my scope a few minutes ago to check it out. It's a little garden patch here, some rose bushes and stuff. And the residents say that they see snakes, garter snakes, sunning themselves right out here on the concrete, on these rocks, and then going in behind this concrete stairwell here. So there's a good chance that that's going to be where the snake den is. I'm probably going to come back in 2 or 3 weeks when the garter snakes actually start emerging and see if there's any snakes right around the entrance here, right around where people see them going in. But putting a scope down there didn't turn up anything, but that's not too surprising, because I think the snakes would go quite deep. That is the nice, southern facing sunny side of the building, and it is close to where, like, this house is the new house that they were saying was built, and after that house was built 3 years ago is when they started having the snake issues over here. So they think that the snakes were in that other lot over there and then have moved over, which is very possible. So right now I'm going to make a recommendation to them. I'm going to send them my bill for today, make a recommendation that they get a contractor in here, take off every one of these vents and seal off those screens, because I think that's going to stop the snakes from getting into the bedrooms. And then beyond that, I could come back in a couple of weeks when snakes are more outside the dens basking themselves, and see if I can actually come up with where the den site is here, if it's under that concrete steps or not. But yeah, I think that's about it for my work here this morning. Hit the road back to Lethbridge, give some more updates. Well, my season's definitely kicking into gear now. I've been attending 1 or 2 wildlife calls of some sort every day, and I've missed some calls too, so there's even more work than what I'm catching. But this was my first snake call of the season. I've been working mostly skunks, and I didn't even record all of my skunk relocations this week. There were several of them, but I know I did get a couple on camera to show you what's going on there. But basically the skunks are on the move. Haven't run into any that look like they're lactating mamas yet, but I imagine at this point they've got some little pinky broods going on. And so the mamas typically, in my experience, they almost have a sixth sense about traps, and they don't generally go in them until after their babies are not quite weaned or anything, but they're at least going out and foraging with them and that kind of thing. And then mamas start getting stuck again. But while they're just straight nursing the babies and they're inside the den, yeah, my experience has been that they're really hard and difficult to catch. So I've been working some skunks, and rather than holing up in the library to do my book work this week, I've decided to take some, you know, on the nicer days at least, I've been taking advantage of the weather, and I'll go to a nature site like the Alexandra Wilderness Park. I was down there, you know, to release a skunk, and I figured, why not also sit here and do some of my work at the picnic table? It's nice outside, and there's no distractions down there because there's no cell phone access, you know. So yeah, I've been getting a little bit of work done every day. My beaver exhibit was scheduled to go up on Monday, but I don't think I'm going to have things to printers in time for that. However, I intend over the weekend here to really have the narrative that I'm using, have a good solid draft of that others can look through and help me kind of finalize. And then early next week it can go up. I'm using a story, and I'll probably show that in my next video, using a Blackfoot story about a war between beaver clans. But I'm really thickly integrating a lot of natural history information about the beavers into that story, so that it becomes an educational tool about beavers' life cycles and such, and what they're about, their role in the environment and the ecology. But it's all wrapped into a story, and then there's going to be visual images, so somebody could just come in and enjoy the visual images, or somebody could come in and enjoy the visual and then read and take in the story. I know it's like not everybody who goes to a interpretive center like the nature center or museum or something like that wants to stand around and read an entire story, a narrative that goes over several panels, but I'm giving them that opportunity because not a whole lot of people know Blackfoot stories either. So I thought this was a great auspicious chance to get a story that's pretty rare out into the public for a month, and also teach people about beavers a little bit. So I've got some more of that work to do this afternoon. I'm not sure where I'm going to set up office for that, but as I say, I've just been shuffling about. Sometimes I'm outside, sometimes I'm inside, but I'm getting at least a couple hours, 2-3 hours of work in on that stuff every day. Lethbridge held its annual Moonlight Run this week. Actually, it was last weekend, last Saturday. I think it's usually the Saturday after the equinox is when it's hosted, or that's what it seems like to me. But in any case, it was a perfect evening. It's a run that starts off in downtown Lethbridge goes into the Coulee Bottoms and Indian Battle Park and then back up again.
Moonlight Run. Start worrying about the light.
Jenna Ray from Sparwood.
I'll finish.
Marie Woods. Jordan Hughes from Lethbridge.
You can opt to run a 6-kilometer stretch of it or a 10-kilometer stretch, but with the caveat that if you do the 10-kilometer stretch, you have to run the whole distance. You can't be walking, even when you're going up the Coulee slope, you can't be walking it. And I think they have that in place because it's a pretty big family event. Like, thousands of people participate in this run, and a lot of them will do the 6K and a lot of them will walk the hill or other parts of the course. But it's just something that they do annually as a family. I was surprised. I've never run this race before myself. Chelsea wanted to do it. She's done it before, and so I opted to go into it with her, and I had a lot of fun. We did the 6K, and I didn't feel it at all during the run. Like, my cardio was all good. I hadn't run for a couple of months, but all the same, my cardio was good. I even like ran up the hill. I was fine. You know, I was almost dancing my way up the hill. I was having, you know, it was just not affecting me at all. And I don't know if it was like the context being amidst all those thousands of people doing it at the same time. Or what it was that let my mind shut off any of the problems, but for like 3 days afterwards, I was sore. Surprisingly sore, or stiff, I should say. Not really sore, but stiff. Like, my legs didn't want to move very well, which is sad for a 6K run. I got to get my running body back, obviously. I think April's going to be my month, you know, in terms of getting myself into some better physical shape, you know, laying off the booze a little bit more, you know. They've got these black fly drinks that came out this last year, these kind of sour raspberry and vodka drinks that I just have been in love with. Those and the black fly margaritas, and I indulge too much, and that, I think, keeps me from wanting to work out too. So April, we're shifting things up, and both Chelsea and I are committed to getting ourselves in better shape, doing workouts every day, and making sure our nutrition is pretty clean. But yeah, did the Moonlight Run, enjoyed it, had a great time. I'll definitely be doing it probably every year in the future. I usually do the Coulee Cactus Crawl, which is a midsummer race in Lethbridge, and it's in the coulees, and it's a long distance. It's almost a marathon, but it's up and down the Coulee slopes on rough trails, dirt trails, and this kind of thing. Last time I ran it barefoot, and I don't run the whole distance. I do about a 7-kilometer leg, and I run with a team of 5, and so we split the thing 5 ways. So I don't know if I'm going to do that race this summer or not. Haven't decided yet. It would be fun to do it, but I'd like to get a team together to do it. I used to jump in with John Nightingale and John Byrne, a couple of my buddies here, you know, retired buddies in town, but you know, last summer we didn't do it. I don't know if they did it and just didn't invite me on the team or what, but I think if I do it this year, I'm gonna set up my own team to do it. It's a fun race, but it's hard, it's brutal. up and down the coulees. And that's not even the worst race we have here in Lethbridge. There's a ultra marathon that just goes all over the coulees for, I don't know, however 60 kilometers or more, you know. It might even be 100 kilometers, I can't remember, but crazy run. I've never done that one. Anyway, that's it on the fitness scene. What else is going on? Not too many days go by when I don't receive some kind of a message regarding Charlie. You know, people want to know how he's doing with all of the other things going on in my life. Don't forget about Charlie, and of course I haven't. I check in on him every day. He's doing just fine, but he is really skinny, you know. He's been a little bit active all winter, and I haven't had any heat on him, although he has had the room temperature of the house. So he has expended quite a bit of energy. He's very skinny, and I'm just looking forward to him finally shedding that skin. He's been dull in color for a while, ready to shed. So once he gets that skin off, he's going to be looking to eat, and I plan to really fatten him up. You know, feed him a bunch of good mice, get him nice and thick, and effect a release. And that's all going to unfold here really quick. Won't be long now before the other snakes have risen. Other than that, I don't have too much to report. Been playing a little bit on my dad's guitar, not every day as I'd hope, but you know, every couple, 2-3 days at least. I spend a half hour, 40 minutes, you know, maybe even a little bit more time, sometimes an hour on there. And right now I'm just playing with the strum pattern, you know, the song that I'm practicing. I'm just trying to throw a little bit of flamenco-ish flourish in there, you know, a little bit of different strumming with the fingers, and maybe a tap on the box here and there. Trying to come up with a good, you know, kind of slightly flourished strum pattern for the song. But anyway, just playing around right now. That's where I'm at with the guitar, like really beginner stuff. You know, even when I learned when I was a kid using that same guitar, it was always just chords for the most part. You know, so we'll see where I go with it. But right now, I just enjoy bringing it out. You know, in a couple, 2-3 days, and playing around on it. Not much else to report other than that. I think I'll leave you with a couple of shots of the kids trying to impress me with some high-end vanishing magic tricks. Check it out. Abracadabra. I was almost there, but I saw your sock sticking out. Hi diddly do. Abracadabra. Boom. There we go. That's a good one.
Let me see.